Hey everyone, you're watching the Midnight Monster Corner horror podcast, and I'm your host as always, Corey, and welcome to episode number 2. We're doing a great review today on 1988 Frank Henenlotter, uh, Brain Damage. Um, so before we go into likes, dislikes, whatever, I'm just going to jump right into the synopsis. Basically, it's a story about a gentleman by the name of Brian who I guess like his brother lives with him. Um, he's just a normal average guy, and one night he just ends up basically becoming a host to, in my perspective, a parasite in a sense. And his name is Aylmer, and Aylmer is I don't know if he's like a brain creature. I don't know what he is, but yeah. So basically, um, Aylmer. Uh, he gets you addicted to his juice, what he calls it, and essentially it's like basically being on an acid trip or LSD trip the whole time. In return, you're supposed to be giving Aylmer, I guess, fresh brains or whatever. Long story short, Brian becomes addicted, obviously, to Aylmer's juice and um, doesn't realize the whole time that he's out and about with Aylmer. Aylmer's actually killing people, and Frank, um, Brian's basically kind of become uh, part of this, and he doesn't realize it. And eventually, throughout the story, he actually does realize it, and in which he ends up trying to, I guess, control the situation or um, maybe try and minimize the use of Aylmer or something. Basically, tries to kick the habit of Aylmer, and it doesn't go over so well. Pretty much, I'm just gonna leave it there. So obviously, Brian he has to fight some demons. Obviously, he has to fight his demon against this, but in the end, it kind of overwhelms him. I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to try and give too much away because if you haven't seen this, I highly recommend you go out and buy this. And you just take my word for it. You're going to want this in your collection if you haven't heard this. But hopefully you have heard of this, and hopefully you do know what I'm talking about because this is such a great film. And honestly, if you haven't heard of Frank Henenlotter, he's done some amazing work, and you know what you're getting yourself into when you pop in a film from him. I mean, just some of the best sci-fi horror cheese ever. Um, this movie was really well done for the budget it actually had, which was sat around 900,000 estimated, so just under a million. Um, and just wow to that. I mean, some of the scenes are just like, how did they pull that off with the budget that they had? So amazing. But highly recommend this if you haven't seen it. Um, as far as some of my favorite scenes in it, like I said, I don't want to give too much away, but there is a couple scenes that I absolutely love, and just because of the trippy aspect of it, there's a scene where he's in the bathtub with Aylmer, and then all of a sudden Aylmer pops up out of nowhere and just like shoots the LSD juice on him, and he just starts screaming hysterically, and he's like in a bubble bath. It honestly just reminded me of like a 5-year-old just going crazy in a bubble bath. But it was a fun time. And yeah, I actually introduced this to a buddy of mine for the first time the other night, and he laughed hysterically. So, I mean, just overall, and I've been talking about this movie and talking about this movie to him, but we finally watched it, and it was a great time. Um, but yeah, and again, this movie sits just at 84 minutes, and it delivers the whole time. There's no, I can't think of any time where I'm just bored or anything with this movie. This movie is just a powerhouse. It just keeps going. Um, but just a great movie and great time. So, uh, as far as rankings, like I said, I don't really want to give rankings, at least not right now, because I really don't know how I base my rankings or what I would base my rankings on. But what I can tell you is my recommendation. Even on an avid collector or series collector, I highly recommend this. Um, it is just a wonderful movie, and I gotta give it out to Arrow, because Arrow seems to be one of my favorite Blu-ray companies right now other than Scream Factory. I do love Scream Factory. Um, but when I first saw this movie, there was no Blu-ray release of it, and I think I saw it on a Synapse DVD, in which the transfer was okay. In my opinion, was a little bit grainy, but that was just me, and maybe it was the device. But honestly, it wasn't my movie, so I was just sitting with a buddy watching it. Um, but as soon as I found out that it was getting a Blu-ray release, and then on top of it, an Arrow Blu-ray release, I was like, gotta get that. So I nabbed it up immediately. But yeah, this is a great set too, because it also has I don't know if you can see, but I mean just all the special features and stuff. It's got tons of stuff, interviews and all kinds of stuff. This is a great addition to this movie. But yeah, you don't have it in your collection, go get it. Don't hesitate. Just take my word on it. It's awesome, man. Cheesy, fun, good time. It's literally one of those movies that you can just sit down and have a good time with the buddy. I highly recommend you watch it with a friend, especially introducing him to it for the first time, because it's quite a fun first. But yeah, that's it. Um, and as always, if you like what you see here, thanks for hanging in there for episode 2. But if you like what you see, like, subscribe, share. Check me out on Facebook group. I'm going to be posting this and yeah, doing some other things. So thank you. Later, guys.